Hello, so this is going to be the Christmas Eve stream. There might be a stream tomorrow, but I can't really guarantee it at this point. And hopefully all the microphone and camera's working and all that. So I'll start saying hello to people as and when they appear on the stream. I did receive something today, which I'm surprised came before Christmas, which some of you might recognise if I can get it into frame. I might need to drag it this way a bit more. Some of you might recognise what this is from. But at the moment, it seems, I guess, nobody's on the stream. So maybe nobody will recognise it. If there's nobody to perceive it. So I'll just wait on here until maybe anybody turns up. All right, I'll go look at the news while I'm waiting for people to come on. Nothing on the news that's of any interest either. All right, this might end up being a very short stream if the notification doesn't go out. Leaving Zeus says Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. No, I'm not Santa. Oh, and all of a sudden 16 viewers apparently, so I guess YouTube was just late on sending the notification out. Right. For anybody that keeps going, oh, there's a spider on your wall. Today, there actually is. So if you look up there, see him? There is one up there today. So yeah, this is the one time where if he turns up on the camera and somebody goes, oh, there's a spider on your wall, you won't get a block today. Right, let me arrange this so you don't see the Lee Enfield, which is verboten according to YouTube. That will do. It's good enough. So a lot of comments. I'm not going to get through all of those, but Merry Christmas to everybody that said Merry Christmas as of tomorrow. Don't forget to like the stream because it says there's 30 odd people on and 5 likes, so you're not doing your job. But yeah, for those of you that didn't see, what's this from then? Hang on. Oh, I can even get him in frame. There we go. Actually, I bet this will go over a Santa hat knowing Soviet engineering. Let's have a look. I bet this will actually. So let me just get this into the right position where this isn't getting in the way of anything. There we go. We'll pop these. Over there. And then in a moment, it will be deployed and ready. So let's have a look. There we go. So let's turn him on. And he's clicking away already. Don't know if you can hear that on your end. It's quite handy having one on a pole, so you can reach across and check things without having to get too close. All right, Peach. I don't know, Yeet. It would depend on which model it is, I imagine. Yeah, came today, hype, which surprised me because I thought it would have come after Christmas. But yeah, it comes and everything works. I've disassembled it, played about with the electronics inside and reassembled it. So, and I've got it running off AA batteries because I just bent the prongs inside, which worked absolutely fine because Soviet engineering. So I'll just put that there. Can you hear it on the thing? If you can't, there you go. Just wondering if there's actually a particular way of putting this so it's as it's meant to be. No, that's a bit more than just background radiation. I've got this next to the sample box. Background radiation would be like this. Let's clear the display. On the smallest scale, background would be less than... yeah, background is like that. You see what happens is when I put this near the box... yeah, but it's a satisfying sort of ticking noise. All right, thank you, Mods. He's gone anyway because all of his messages have been insults. So, bye. Oh, I can probably poke the spider, couldn't I, of this? Hang on. Can I reach him? Oh, we might just escape the probe. Yeah, he can escape the probe. Never mind. Oh. Anyway, I'll start reading the chat in a minute, but yeah, this is fun to play about with. The circuit check, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to work on this one. But everything else works fine. I did leave it on circuit check for like 30 minutes to let it warm up. But it definitely works fine. It gets the correct reading, so it doesn't bother me. So, there we are. Let's just get this off. Oh, a load more of the stuff you sent from China's arrived, hype, thank you. But I've not got around to doing videos on any of it yet. Go on eBay and buy it. That's cool, Mike. That's good to know. But yeah, with the check source, because it's got the SR90 check source in it, that works fine. When I've checked the readings with it against other things, you know, the numbers match up. So it just seems to be the circuit check. And the nice thing is the calibration points are marked inside because I opened up all the case, took it apart. And the calibration for each of the multipliers is set, and they've marked it with red kind of paint, like they do with the what's it ones, like the you know, the US ones, like the CDVs, where they put like a red marker at where the calibration bit should be. I have no idea what that is, Igor. Yeah, £60 or so. Violet Sky Diver, depending on what's in the kit. Christmas dinner's tomorrow. Not today. Today's Christmas Eve. Depends, again, how much each one is, Dr. Terminator Show. Obviously, if they're a similar price, German M35 is a no-brainer. But if that's really expensive and the SSH-68 is cheap, I'd go for the SSH-68. Let me check if it's 16 milliröntgen per hour, because obviously the thing is, the older it is, the more of the decay has gone through it. With that, I can have a look. So let's just get this back over here and twist it round so that's on the thing. There we go. Let's put that there. Right, so if we go to times 10, it should finish up, I guess, just before 2, shouldn't it? For 16 milliröntgen. It's pretty much bang on the 2, the needle, so 20 milliröntgen per hour. I don't think it did, Chris, no. At least I didn't see it. So yeah, it's showing up about 20 milliröntgen per hour hype on the check source. But this particular unit says 83 or something on it, so it's not all that old. Or was it even newer than that? Hang on. Oh, sorry, 1987. So yeah, it wouldn't have decayed much. What am I drinking today, Iron Man? Just some rum with ice in it. Don't think it's been confirmed either way, Tyrannus, but I wouldn't recommend you breathe through it. You have to ask Hype that. Dr. Terminator show, I don't know. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, it was in quite good condition. I got this one for about, I think it was £80 with the postage. High 80s, low 90s. Because it was one where the seller had a load of the wooden cases, and this one was all the bits with a working DP5V, except the wooden case. For, you know, like 50, 60 quid less, which suits me fine, because I'm sure you can get the wooden cases cheaply on their own. But yeah, all in good condition, but as I said, I've dismantled everything and put it back together because it's Soviet. You can do that super easily without instructions. Everything makes sense how it comes off and on. That's interesting, Chris. I've never had a CEO of a company get shitty at me online. The closest I've got is that guy who sells old expired filters and claims they still work, getting shitty at me. And my favourite comment where he was being a retard on somebody else's video was where somebody was on about different radiation ranges with, unit readings. And the guy was on about 1,000 Rontgen per hour being really dangerous. And this guy's like, 1,000 Rontgen per hour is perfectly survivable. No, it's not. Do you think this guy's shilling a product now where he says you can survive 1,000 Rontgen? Oh, it's the safety word it's censoring. Yeah, for some reason. You can't say the word safety online. But yeah. If you're at 1,000 Rontgen per hour, I don't think there's a human on the planet that would survive that. But this guy seems to think you can survive it fine. So the S10 is called the S4 now. Oh dear. Rontgen, Jack, is a unit of radiation measurement. It's kind of been replaced by Grays and Sieverts now, but I still prefer the Rontgen. But if you have an old retro unit like this, like the Russian one I've been showing, or this the CDV series, it's in Rontgens per hour. This one goes up to times 100. So if you're on times 100 and it reads 5, that's 500 Rontgen per hour. Basically, 500 Rontgen would kill most humans. Nobody is going to survive 1,000 Rontgens. Yeah, it's a measurement. I mean, Rontgen was actually the bloke who discovered or invented the X-ray, but that's why the measurement's named after him. It's a sort of ionizing radiation measurement. But you get, you get millisieverts, you get sieverts, Rontgens, Grays, Rads, It did, Hype. It's in the other room, so I can't really go get it now, but it did, yes. I didn't read through all the booklet, but it came with 2 different booklets, and they had, like, stamps in and everything. But yeah, it did have all that on it, so that was good. And for those of you that are interested, this is almost completely evaporated now, to the point where I can get at the lovely, lovely dust at the bottom. Now, let's put the Geiger counter on this in a moment. But yeah, this is quite interesting. All right, I'll go get it in a second. Let me just turn off this UV light. I just want to check what this does on the check source thing. Not the check source thing, this. So let's open the beta window, although the glass of this will actually block a lot of the beta. Is that the way I want it? Yeah, that's the way I want it. And let's flick him on. All right, the needle's moving. I'll just wait for the needle to stop in a second. Although saying that, I'm actually going to take this off of this extension pole for this because it makes it harder to get this next to the thing. So There we go. So that's the pole removed. Let's put this next to the thing. Then I'll go get that booklet in a second. Right, the needle's still moving. Slowing down. I don't know if there's any particular bit of this that's hotter than another bit. Looking at that. Depends where the majority there of all the bits have ended up. Right, while I go get that booklet that Hype wants to see, I'll leave you all with the pleasure of listening to this. If I can get the headphone cable across to where the headphones are. Hang on, I've got this all tangled now. Right, let me just move this box. There you go. Right, you enjoy that noise while I go look for the booklet. Right, back. So, we want one of these, don't we? Right, which one do you reckon's the service log? Let's go for the one first that has some pen on it. Oh, this has those. On X10, it was 25, I guess that was last time. If I'm looking in the right thing. And if it was 25 whenever this was signed, not 2019, is it? What, 2001 is that? Is that 2001, do you reckon? Because, yeah, if that was 2001 and it was 25 then, and now it's pretty much 20, that would seem legit to me that strontium 90 has decayed that much in about 20 years. But anyway, I'll stop you getting in the ears right now, because that might be getting annoying for you. There we go. Yeah, everybody got plans for Christmas then tomorrow. I'm spending most of the day at my grandparents'. I don't know what I'm getting for Christmas, otherwise it wouldn't be a surprise, would it? I assume most people normally give me money so I can spend it on what I want, which ends up being more surplus. Yeah, cool. It's not as active as the Polish one, though, because the Polish Czech sauce is about 300 milliröntgen. Let me get the Polish Czech sauce and put it on it, because that will be fun. I mean, I don't know if my radio would actually be more active than the strontium 90 at this point. I'm not going to find strontium 90. Wherever he is in here. Where's he gone? Oh, I spotted him. He's literally fallen into the most awkward place possible to retrieve. So let's check this much bigger bit of strontium 90. So I'll flick him back on and move this a little bit out of the way. I'll put him here where he should sit up against the tube. Right, now let's flick it on. Right, let me go to the 100 scale and see if it's visible on there. Now let's go to 10 and see if he's picking him up on 10. Right, it's moving on 10. Let's just get it lined up properly with the beta window, because it's a smaller beta window on this compared to the Polish one. Right, that should be pretty much sitting across the window now. Right, I have to go to times 100, because it's already, then I'll do the 0. Let's see where the needle ends up. Right, still climbing slowly. Right, let me go back on to times 10, because it seems to be doing that annoying thing where it goes to a really low end on times 100. Right, on times 10, it's pretty much going off the scale. It's about 5. If I go to times 100, it's at 0.25. So that should be, what, 25 millirontgen per hour? Although it was over 50 millirontgen, wasn't it, on the times 10? Let me just see if I can get it closer to the window, because I don't know if that's the problem. Oh yeah, it's climbing a bit more now. Let me just try it with some radium instead. Right, annoyingly, I'm struggling to get it into the thing, but yeah, it's at least plus 50 millirontgen per hour, because the needle goes off the scale on the last one, but then on the times 100, it just sort of stays at the very low end of the scale. Could be an SF10. If it's not an FM12. It's not midnight yet. Tactical. Right, Merry Christmas to anybody leaving. Yeah, at the moment I was just playing with the Geiger counters. It's your end. I've got a blue snowball, so the mic should be fairly good, you know. But at the moment, it's just people spamming the comments with weird stuff, so. I don't even play DayZ, so I don't know why to stream it if I don't play it full stop. I've got a reproduction Confederate, like, what are those caps called? They have a weird name, like the slouchy kind of caps. But yeah, so for a nice bit of trivia from the Chernobyl series, let me just turn this off and show it you. So this is the Geiger counters they basically have had in Chernobyl. Now the interesting bit is, notice there's a 200 switch there. That's for the 200 Rontgen one. So if you go to you look at the bottom scale for that, which goes to 200. So you know when Sitnikov says it maxed out 200 Rontgen. Technically, if they were using Soviet DP5 Geiger counter series, it would max out at 200 Rontgen. So, you know, just a nice bit of trivia. I know I've mentioned that before, but, you know, if it maxes out 200 Rontgen, it's a DP5. What are you on about? Flashlight in the back? There's not a flashlight behind me. Oh, but if I get the UV light again, I know this. Oh, I think I've got the stronger UV light in the drawer. Yeah, I have, right. These have the really nice green glowing dials on these. And that bit will glow green as well. There we go. But yeah, I love how small this is actually saying that, because if you, compared to all the Geiger counters I've got, this thing is actually kind of tiny if you consider how much of this actually is the bit that's the Geiger counter itself. Just visiting my grandparents, Steve, because they're a bit too old now to kind of come up here and, you know, everything. So we're going to theirs so they don't have to do much. These do not give off ionizing radiation, if that's what you're on about. Oh no, I'm guessing burns. I'm not. No, yeet. I'll warn you now. If I showed you that, I could potentially be banned by YouTube. So if you ask that again, you're getting blocked. Because I can't tell now if people are trying to do it on purpose to get me in trouble. Ooh, don't want it on straight, but yeah. And you can operate without having this in the plastic housing as well if you wanted to take it out of that, and then it's even more compact. Oh yeah, I saw that on Discord, Chris. Looks really good. But when Tax is saying that, these do give off UV radiation, but light is radiation anyway. Yeah. It's very similar to what my DP66 gave off, actually. But yeah, the thing I like is that the dial here does it as well. Right, Chris, what it is YouTube put a new terminology thing on, saying not for regular videos, weirdly, but just for live streams, you are not allowed to show any guns on live streams. Whether or not they think this will stop mass shooters somehow, I don't know. Well, is it from Chernobyl? No. Is it the type they used in Chernobyl? Yes. It's a Soviet DP5 series. Well, it depends. If they're radium ones, Daniel, they glow a pale green, like green-blue. If they're the non-radium ones, they can be literally any colour. But I think this one, although it's barely radioactive, is kind of a radium colour. No, this one isn't. Let me show you one of the radium ones. All right, here's this nice big one. Again, you can't see it all that well unless the UV is really bright, so it's not going to show up on camera, but it has a really nice pale glow radium. Let me try this one. Yeah, there we go. But again, I don't think it's going to really show up on camera. Yeah, the thing is, like I was saying before, is if you were a mass shooter, you're not going to say, are you, oh no, I might get a strike on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to go and shoot people. Amazon, eBay, Tactical, like all this stuff, literally AliExpress, anywhere, go in and type UV torch. Or something like that, UV flashlight. Well, I've always found them interesting, Jack. It's just they're not the cheapest things. Gas masks are a lot cheaper. But sometimes if you know what to search, you can find counters for more reasonable prices. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, Scoot Noob. what can and can't. I mean, they're not biological things, so it's not going to kill them as it would kill a person. If you mean in terms of not conking out, that depends totally on what kit it is. I don't know much about Romanian respirators other than they did the ones that were like M65 license copies, but I don't have any of them. What, a CDV? Well, they're very common in America, those, because they're the old civil defense series. You know, these. These are very popular in the States. So if I get my Polish Czech sauce and expose that to this, oh, that went off the scale pretty quickly. Let's just do it on times 100. Yeah, but yeah, that's because it's a big bit of strontium, even though it's quite old. What is the best Soviet tank? Late series T-80, one of the really upgraded T-72s. I don't know. Which one, Steve? The Soviet one I've been showing, or the yellow one? If you mean the yellow ones, these are US CDV series, or CD as in civil defense, V, and then these are the 700, and there's a few variants of the 700. But the most popular ones are the 6As and 6Bs made by various companies. The Soviet one I was showing earlier is the DP5V. Where have I popped him on the floor? The Soviet one won't max out, at least, though, compared to that one. I don't live in Belgium, thankfully, so it doesn't matter to me if a Belgian nuclear reactor explodes. But yeah, so that's a Soviet DP5. What, US CDVs in the UK over 100 quid. You can generally get them cheaper than 200, but if you're willing to pay 200, you can pretty much get one in great condition instantly. If you want to go up to on eBay, if you can import them from the US as well. Right, let me just try how much I get off of this with the Soviet one, using the Soviet probe. Let's just get that across there. Quite hard to get the angle properly correct on there. About 1.2 times 10, so 12 milliröntgen per hour from the bit of radium on this. Spider's still in the same place on the wall, he's not moved. What does this test tube give? Because that's what's going to interest me. That's hotter. At the moment, about 30 milliröntgen. Yeah, about 30 milliröntgen per hour for this bit of radium that's in there. But yeah, to show you with that Chinese one hype, because this was the thing I was on about the other day, wasn't I? Let's just take him off charge. Right, if I put this on here like that, let's see how high the number goes. If the webcam will show it without kind of going off color. Just make sure that's all on that side. 69.66. No, the spider's still up there. He's not visible in frame at the moment. Although the display does that glitchy thing where some of the numbers start disappearing off of it. I've already said I might not. It depends if I have free time or not. Oh, the screen's gone off. Ooh. But regardless, this is pretty hot. Tell you what, I'll just sit this on a flat surface behind me and then I can read what it says in a bit. And it's been on there for a while. No, €15 just for a Shums mask isn't too bad. Yeah, what I'm doing at the moment, Hype, is I'm mostly, if I get any more aircraft dials, I'm just going to take the actual needles off very carefully, because they just basically unclip from the face, and then just put them all in a test tube. Because, yeah, the actual needles, this is the impressive thing, you know, have so much radium paint on just the needles alone, that way, you know, you're not really risking it flaking off, but you can just put a load of the needles directly into a test tube and get a really impressive dose rate. Especially for the higher range meters. Right, I'm not going to tell you what it is, because if I tell people what it is, I bet people bid against me on eBay, but I am still the top bidder on an item, and it ends in about half an hour. Wow, in terms of most effective inquiry, that would be a very modern kind of military grade one. In terms of like best surplus one, maybe Soviet DP5 series, Polish DP66s and 75s. My personal favorite Geiger counter is the US CDV 718, but that is very hard to find, but it's really, really good. You can literally buy radium dials and things like that on eBay. Tactical by Z. Most sellers don't even know they're radium. But radium is quite scary for what it is, you know, just because of how concentrated it is. I don't have a top hat, but you're asking Mike. But, I'll say it's a counter, Steve, and it's a retro British one. But what I will say is interesting, and I only found out the other day, is it turns out Britain kept these in service for much longer than I expected and retrofitted them. So I'm actually bidding on like the retrofitted one that only came out of service a few years ago. But yeah, that was something that surprised me, because it was where I was looking. I kept looking for these old British sort of Cold War era counters, right? And I kept thinking it's really weird there's barely any for sale. And then I found out it's because they barely sold any of them on the surplus. What they did with the majority of them was retrofitted them and kind of improved them slightly. So that's what I'm bidding on, but I won't tell you the exact name of it until I win the auction on it, hopefully. But I don't want the price to just drive up because I randomly say what it is. See you, Tactical. I just want to see actually what the Soviet DP5 thinks the let's just show the chair again. What I'm sort of interested in is what this. See if I can arrange it so you can see the screen on there. Probably not very well, can you? I mean, of course I'm knocking shit over all the time. Like, oh, fuck's sake. That's what always happens when I start trying to arrange stuff like that. But yeah, there's that. I was going to see what happened if we put this on there. So we're on times 10 at the moment. I'd have no idea what a type of flashlight is without knowing anything about it, no. Right, so let's go across where it says not. Is that the hottest spot it's found? Because that's about 20 millirontgen per hour at the moment. Yeah, but as I said, some of these dials are quite scarily hot. So let's just seal him back up again before I knock any of the paint off. Right, cheers, Chris. They do turn up more often now, because I found out, since I know now what name they are, they turn up more often. But yeah, let's get this on flush so it's not a risk. The problem with these sort of threads is quite often you open them and then they never want to close properly. Is that it? Keeps wanting to cross thread, that's the problem. There we go. Yeah, $30 for a Serbian M2 sounds like a good price. There we go. That's done. Yeah, in terms of gamma radiation, let's see what this gives off in terms of gamma alone for this dial. So let's go all the way down to the lowest setting, close the gamma shield on here. There we go. Right, so that's shooting up pretty fast. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's obviously on the smallest scale. Let's go up to the next one, ×1, 0 it. So I can just pop this down here, can't I, to do this? Looks like it's going to probably be 1 millirontgen, depending on which angle it's at. Anyway, I'll switch that off now, because otherwise I'm not following the stream, am I, when I'm playing with these sort of things. But yeah, Soviet DP5 Geiger's are really nice. Right, now I'll put that up slightly. There you go. Nope, gas. I have never found a single gas mask that's radioactive. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Brian. Yeah, well, the seller doesn't have a check source hype, so he doesn't know. And a bit like the US CDV series, like the CDV 715s and 720s, because it's an ion chamber unit designed for deadly amounts of radiation, most people will have no way of calibrating them and checking them. But if you look at the stickers on it, they were serviced as recently as the early 2000s, when they were still in British military service, because it turns out Britain kept these counters in service for way longer than they should have done. So apparently it does all the circuit checks and all that sort of stuff, but because they have no way of testing it, they don't know. But I'd assume it would work because these are kind of very simple units, so hard to break. Yeah, the thing is with the UK ones is the UK ones are not very. The funny thing is, despite me being obviously in England, the UK counters are very hard to find for the most part because they didn't make very many of them. And I assume a lot of them just got destroyed. And then, yeah, the only reason I found them a bit easier now is it turns out a lot of one model was retrofitted into a newer model, so they could keep them in service for longer. All right, cool. I mean, if you wanted to get one like this, these are pretty cheap. Hype sells these. Oh, there's look at that accumulative dose now. There you go, 215 from this needle. I think I got this needle to 400 at one point. But whether or not I can get it to go that high again on this one, I don't know. I think it's still going up. Yeah, sadly, some people buy old things like that and then turn them into stuff like that. Let me just smack this on the table a bit and see if I can get the dust to accumulate more on one side. Like that. There we go. $176. Yeah, at one point it's got to 400. But I think sometimes with stuff, it seems to be very random at how well you get a certain angle facing it. I'll put that back on there, but yeah, potentially you can get that number pretty high. I need to, at some point, when I can put that completely facing up and there's no risk of knocking it over, so no, I'm not going to do it on the stream, dry that test tube fully out so the dust inside, actually, fully dries out and falls to the bottom rather than just sticking to the sides because it's slightly damp at the moment. Cheers. I mean, the only proper poster there is that one because that's an actual, reprint of an actual Soviet poster, but the thing is, with these Geiger counters and all that, where people turn them into lamps, if they are totally fucked inside, and never going to work again, I don't mind that. Because it's better than somebody just throwing them away. If they just essentially use the Geiger case for something and then make a cool lamp out of it. The problem is when people literally buy something that's fully functional and then rip them apart because, I can make some cool looking gizmo out of it. 40mm NATO. Yeet. So the person who kept desperately saying, "How do I contact you?" didn't even want anything in the end. Oh dear. What's that number at the moment on that one? Let's have a look. 175. So going to go up or down. 181. Okay, I found a slightly more sensitive spot for it now. But yeah, what I like doing at the moment is putting these dosimeter pens in the box with all the radioactive items and then, checking what they're doing. This is at 2 Rontgen pretty much now, but this one I only put in there this afternoon because the other one got to 50. So I, reset them and put them back in. I don't know if that's going to show up on there. Just about, but yeah, it's only at about 1 to 2 Rontgen at the moment because I reset this earlier and it's barely sat next to any of the samples. It probably depends where you are. In the UK, you can buy FP5 filters with the shipping much cheaper. But yeah, with all these things, it's like when I buy the US CDV stuff from America, sadly, a lot of Americans sell the CDV counters for like $60 to $80, which is a really good price because it's not even very much in pounds. But then the issue is the postage prices end up being like $60 to $100 for the shipping. So yeah, it's because I've ordered a CDV 720 now. For those of you that don't know, the CDV 720 is basically the CDV version of that German abomination, but good. It's the CDV 715 essentially, but it has a bit at the bottom you can slide open. It's got a beta window at the bottom. So you can measure beta radiation as well as just gamma with it, and X-rays. Although I don't think it goes to 0.1 like this one does. I think it only goes to 1. But whether or not, this would be what would interest me, you could easily get this, unscrew the ion chamber from this one, and swap the ion chamber from the other one and just attach it. I don't know, because if you could, you've got a beta-capable ion chamber attached to the better circuitry of the 715. Is the dollar and pound pretty much equal now, Chris? Because for quite a while it was like 70 pence, wasn't it, per dollar? But saying that, the British thing I'm bidding on is pretty much the same thing, where it has a beta window on the bottom that you can shield or leave open, and it's mostly for gamma. But the funny thing is they upgraded when they upgraded them, and I actually don't know if they did upgrade them other than just changing the unit, what it physically says on it. They went from Rontgens to greys, or centigrays, I think it was. Yes, centigrays. But the scale is exactly the same, but a grey or a centigrade isn't exactly equal to a Rontgen. So I'm wondering if it's still the actual Rontgen numbers and it just says it in grey. So if you read the label, it's technically incorrect. Yep, I'll send you a picture in a minute, Hype, of what I'm actually buying, or I've got a bid on, because it's still I'm still the top bidder on it. Let me see if I can send you a picture quickly on Discord. I'll just open Discord and post it, because the problem is if I post a picture in this chat, other people can see it, and then somebody might put a bid on just to drive the price up to be annoying. But let me just do that with... Yep, I found you. There you go. If you want to have a look, I've sent it to you on Discord. But yeah, if you think US CDV 715, 720s, it's like the British military equivalent of it. Well, the problem is I'm going off the stream in 8 minutes, and I don't think the auction ends for like another 20, 30 minutes. But I have mentioned to Hype the older equivalent thing of this before. The nice thing of this thing as well is it actually takes 2D batteries now, rather than being weird, obsolete batteries that they like to put in the old things. Yeah, and it's been calibrated in the early 2000s, so it should be a pretty good unit. I mean, I'm hoping I never get to the radiation levels, obviously, where you need something like that. I mean, yeah, I think it was just simply because when they had the old Radiac type stuff in stock, they just retrofitted them to keep them in service, because Britain's kind of poor like that. We don't tend to replace stuff until we really have to. Which community tab, Mike? I can send it you on Twitter. But if I... Oh, do you mean like once I win the auction on it? If I do win the auction, post it on the YouTube community thing. Only thing is, because I've done a stream today, it might not send a notification out to people. But I'll Twitter you it now if you want, Mike. Just so you know what I'm on about. I should tell you what, I'll post it on the one with you and Peach on as well. And John. Because that way you can actually see what it is. Oh, they're starting to learn, Richard, because you talk to me too much. But yeah, what interestingly, Hype, when this thing was originally in service, there was two versions. There was the handheld one that was that, and there was another one that was on a wire. You wanted to basically really hope in your RAC post you had the one that was on the wire, because otherwise, it's your turn to go up into the wasteland to stand around with an ion chamber for a bit to measure the irradiation levels. It's a bit like the US CDV 715 versus, is it the 717? Let me check. CDV 717. Yeah, it's a bit like these. Basically, you'd have much rather had something like this in a shelter than the 715, because if you had this one, you at least didn't have to go out into a horribly irradiated environment to take the readings. When you have this model, you do, because there's no extension lead on it. I've said before, my house, because I don't really have any need for a drinking tube, so I'd rather have a lighter, stronger mask that doesn't have a drinking tube on it. Yeah, let's start him up. Not that you're going to get a reading on this. Anyway, I'll be going off in a minute, but Merry Christmas to everybody as well. I suppose for some people in the time zone, it will be Christmas Day pretty soon if it's not already. As I said, I might stream tomorrow, but it will completely depend on how busy I am on Christmas Day. And, because when I'm at my grandparents', they don't have internet, so I can't exactly stream from theirs, even if I get time to do it. I'm going to film another YouTube video today at some point, just for putting on in like a month's time, just because at the moment I've been a bit behind with my schedule. So I'm about 3 weeks at the moment ahead, not a month ahead, because I've just had a load of days recently where I've not had time to do a video. That's all right, Hype. I don't mind paying the custom fee on Mike's thing anyway, because I support him on Patreon. Because I wouldn't really expect, if Mike's being sent a gift, for Mike to have to pay for it. So I'll pay that for him if it happens. Well, I'm visiting my grandparents, Jack, but yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's annoying you can't do that anymore, but I doubt this will get a reading, but I did have something else turn up today. Where did I pack them before I go off? Did I just put them in here? Yeah, I did. The 4 of these I ordered turned up, so I've already dissected one, but had one as a Christmas present. But it's just the iron chambers you can buy from China with a bit of americinium in them. So, whoops, don't tell the British government I've been buying AM241. Not that this will give you a reading on here, but yeah, it's got a little bit of AM241 on the bit there, just on the inside. LED radiometer, yep. Anyway, yep. Goodbye to everybody. Have a brilliant Christmas for everybody. And if you celebrate something other than Christmas because of religious or non-religious reasons, have a great day, whatever you do. As I said, I'll try and stream tomorrow, but I can't guarantee it at the moment. Oh, it will do, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the mini monitor can actually read americinium because it's got the alpha probe. Let me just show you that then before I go off. So, if I have it round this way and put them on there, hang on, let me put the speaker on. You'll get a bit of gamma going through there, but not very much. It's ticking up a bit now. I've decided to walk off and leave it. But yeah, what comes inside there, if I can actually get it now, because it's gone to the bottom as quickly as I do. What you actually get inside these is obviously the bit of AM241 on the plate. Here's one I dissected earlier. So yeah, if you put that in front of there, because this obviously has the alpha probe on it. But yeah, that's just because of the alpha probe. But on most Geigers, you can't get it to do that. Obviously, yeah, it gives off a bit of gamma. Yeah, what I'd like to do with it, Hype, actually, is kind of do a torture test, where essentially what I'll end up doing is putting the thing in for a bit inside the radiation box and then coming back like an hour later and seeing what it measures and if the batteries have not fucked, because it should be shielded, so it should survive from that. But the problem is, like, things like the SOEX and all that, you can't do that with those, because if you put them in, the batteries have like been zonked, and also the reading is never as high as it should be. Yeah, cheers, Ghost Jesus. But yeah, let's just check what this guy says before I go off. 199, it was at 200 something just then, before I picked it up. But yeah, it seems the accumulative dose on this goes up quite well, but just not the other one. But anyway, yeah, I'll be off. Thanks, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Have a brilliant Christmas and everything, and see you all maybe tomorrow. But yeah, goodbye. Right, have a nice Christmas.